Seven Hills Elderly Care Campus, represented by Landsong Ltd. Are they here? Very good. You, Tom? You want to explain the project to us?
Hello, everyone. My name is Tom Simmons. Address 7603 Old Rockside Road, Independence. And we're presenting only a road connection between Oak Tree Boulevard and what is currently under contract by us. 17-acre parcel of land owned by First Energy. The eastern border is the corporate line between Independence and Seven Hills, our properties, all 17 acres and 7 Hills. We're looking for a road connection, and we're not necessarily looking for any type of approval plan, but to present anything. This is the first connection, road connection to Seven Hills and Independence, and it is since the Rockside Road Planning Committee met, and it's our understanding that this road is designated, or this right-of-way is designated as one of those connections between the two cities. Okay, is that okay that I do that? Just
So
present
what
this
you're
project?
doing, you're not seeking any approval today. It's more of an information type of.
More of an information submission, is that okay?
Well, the information's fine.
Yeah.
We have a number of questions and concerns.
I'm
I'm sure you know we do.
sure, and Seven Hills
Has
wants
concerns as
to
well.
hear those questions and answers too.
Mhm.
So we're, we get the two cities together, we have to spend some time, right?
Totally agree.
So I want to hear your questions, and I guess that's, and I want to take the time to go over the planning.
Okay, fine. First of all the neighbors were notified? Probably none is independent, so fine, I guess. Right. Fellow Seven Hills people, I would think. Right. So I want you to explain the project first of all, and tell us where you stand with respect to the legalities of the project, give them approvals, etc. So we know where you stand. Then tell us about the project, and then we in turn, I have a half dozen questions here for you, or concerns, and we'll talk about it. Okay?
Thank you. We're putting in, the project is an elderly care campus consisting of approximately 200 units of independent living, assisted living, and memory care. 3 separate buildings as of now. We're in Seven Hills planning right now. And they're asking pretty much the same questions that you may be asking me. That being said, the property is going through zoning change in Seven Hills, and it's going through a PUD. One of the things that we're proposing is this connection. Now, this along with the 17 acres comes a 60-foot right-of-way or easement, technically, from Oak Tree to the property there that First Energy kept when they sold the property to the people that own the building now. And we're proposing to put a public right-of-way with a 26-foot wide street from Oak Tree going west to our Seven Hills line. So, sanitary sewer already runs down the corporate line on the Seven Hills side. The city of Seven Hills actually owns the 1.5 acres that's frontage on Rockside, and they are going to extend Lombardo Drive to the south and to the west, and we're going to tie into that eventually when they work through those issues and get the financing squared away and so on.
So then they come on the other side of Rockside with Lombardo Drive?
Lombardo's going to go to the south,
To the south,
on the other
right,
side,
yeah.
right? And it's going to go through what is now about 70 contiguous acres. We own 17 of them.
Right.
And there's another property owner to We own 17 of the 70, and it's an approximate number. A company called LSP Seven Hills.
And who's behind that?
A gentleman by the name of Louis Beck does business here in Wheaton also.
So Lombardo's gonna come from the backside to the backside of the assisted living? As I look at this drawing that you gave us?
Yes.
So you're coming from east into the west, I'm sorry, the southern door. So this whited out area right here that I'm pointing to is the 17, represents the 17 acres.
The southern portion of the 17 acres, yeah. On page 3 of your drawing, you can have a general plan. Is that page 3 on your drawing?
I got
And is Mr. Beck proposing a senior living community as well on this property?
That's my understanding, although they've had a public presentation, but they haven't submitted any drawings or anything official to the city. What you see in the bottom of that page is a copy of a photograph. What it does is it shows what part of their site and what they're doing, but they haven't submitted anything.
That's yeah.
That's our site.
This is you. So they're going to be here, or on this side.
They're going to be on the side towards you with a dark.
Yeah, that's right. And crossing is over here. So Lombardo's are probably right about here,
Right.
and right here, so I can run
The proposal that we're making to the city right now is, if you look on Rockside, we're adjacent from Lombardo, there's a short street that you'll see there in the plan. And that would probably be the location of the permanent roadway, the permanent extension of Lombardo. And then you see a snake-like road that goes off to the east and then comes back to the south. That's what we're proposing as a temporary construction drive, so all the construction traffic can come in through Rockside. And we're aware of Oak Tree refurbishing, and we're trying to stay off of Oak Tree with the heavy
He's
construction.
trying to stay off. He will stay off, right?
Whatever you say. But that's the thinking behind that.
Good for you.
Okay, questions from the audience? Somebody had a question here, I thought.
Yeah, I'm sorry, what's your name?
Tom Simich?
Tom, my name's Mark Naska. I own 6200 Oak Tree. Have you reached out to us at all?
Bill Mason has. He's my development partner. I don't know if he's talked to you much.
He has. Do you have a decent idea of how much parking would be disrupted on our property as a result of the...
I have an idea. I'm not sure exactly how it can be configured. We've been working on that. But
With us?
No, we've been drawing it up. There's nothing to share with you yet, but I guess the answer...
You don't own the property yet, do you?
No.
And I thought,
We will shortly. So I guess the answer to your question is 84 spots. The last time I gave that number to Bill, and my understanding he's been in contact with you.
Well, we had one conversation. He indicated that he would get back in touch with us to discuss a rectification of the original easement, which was poorly drafted. I've spent 10 years trying to get a hold of First Energy to try and clarify that easement. They refused to discuss it. I offered to sit down with Bill. We've not heard back from him. As you can imagine, the disruption to our parking would be wholly unacceptable. And so I'm wondering what alternative proposals you would have with respect to the disruption of our parking.
Well, I guess first things first. We have to design the road. We have to get through planning, and then we have to sit down with you. we intend to do that, you know, and Bill continually talks about, you know, what are we gonna do to supply you with the 84 spots that you're gonna be.
So it's going to replace those spots.
Well, that's between you and Bill, because that, you know,
Well,
that's,
Bill and you are partners.
that's
so
an
What-
easement agreement.
What's the theory?
The theory is to help you relocate your 84 spots, however that's done. And, you know, I just don't want you to misunderstand me when I say I'm gonna provide those spots for you. We have to sit down and we have to figure out what's best for both of us, I guess, but.
I'm not sure I understand that.
I-
Are you
what
saying
I-
you're
what
not
I-
going to
what
provide
I'm-
replacement
What
spots?
I'm trying to tell you is I'm not gonna pay to install 84 new parking places for you.
So where would they come from?
They would come, I don't know, I really don't know. I mean, that's up to you. I know you've talked to the people, or, the property behind you. You talked to First Energy about that property, right?
I'm not talking to Energy about their property.
Bill's under the impression that you have.
I have not.
Okay.
But maybe
I guess
11
all-
years ago, perhaps.
Yeah. I'm not trying to be difficult, but all I know is there's an agreement. When we purchase the property, which we don't own already,
Well, let me clarify what the
you know,
agreement says.
then we can sit down and talk, but right now I don't own it, and
The agreement says that up until, I believe, 2002, if you were granted the right to put a dedicated easement through the property, the parking would need to be replaced. When we purchased that property, we questioned that easement because it doesn't speak to the parking issue post-2002. We talked to the City of Independence. City of Independence said, under no circumstances whatsoever would we ever allow that to happen if it compromised your parking. So I've spent 11 years now attempting to try and simply clarify that easement so that the only requirement is the parking not be compromised. And no one will discuss it with us. We, as you can imagine, we will vehemently object to any dedicated easement across the parking lot unless our parking goes uncompromised.
I understand that. I don't own the property yet. I know Bill is familiar with the easement agreement, so I guess you're gonna have, you know, you have those conversations with him. First Energy is very difficult to get a hold of, and I understand that. And
We got a hold of them, they just wouldn't talk to us. As a matter of fact, the attorney's a good talker. And I did a ton of work with her before she went to First Energy. They wouldn't talk to us.
I guess you know, if we buy the property, when we buy the property, when we own it, which will be shortly, then we'll fulfill all our obligations according to that easement agreement.
But just
I promise
understand,
you that.
there's no room on that site to find additional parking. So the only way additional parking would come is from your property. So any removal of parking from our site will be met with great opposition.
Okay, but all I'm telling you is that easement agreement, when we buy the property, we'll honor.
I'm not
Is
sure.
that-
I'm not sure what that means because you have no obligation.
When you bought the property, you had an easement agreement was on there, right?
We took the property subject to
To the
an
easement, so
easement
whatever-
agreement which had an impossibility in it that the City of Independence said they would never act upon. Because your property's in Seven Hills and you would be asking to impair an Independence property's parking count.
Okay, I'd be glad to have this conversation with you.
That's fine. I would welcome you after 11 years.
All I can tell you is that there's a legal document that we're gonna abide by, I can promise you that.
Good luck with that.
Yeah. Tom, you guys have discussed
Yes.
this. Anything else you want to ask about the project?
No, I'd like to answer your questions if you have any more.
Well, what I'd rather do is, thank you for the information you gave us. And when you're ready, come back with a formal application. We can digest the application, and we can take it from there.
Thank you.
Okay? Thank you, Tom, I appreciate it.